Have you ever felt the sting of distance from your own child? When calls go unanswered, messages ignored, or conversations fade, it can feel like all your love and effort have disappeared. You may wonder if your guidance mattered at all, or if your influence has vanished. But even in these quiet, painful moments, there is hope. Your children are still listening, learning and growing, often in ways you cannot yet see. Every lesson, every value, every act of love you have shared leaves a lasting mark, even when it seems invisible. This video is for every parent who has felt helpless, anxious, or uncertain as their child drifts away. Today we will explore powerful truths that remind you your impact is never wasted and your presence still carries weight. By the end of this video, you will understand how to maintain patience, hope, and calm influence, ensuring that your love continues to guide even from a distance. Even when it feels like they've turned away, your message is still reaching them. When a child slowly pulls away, the pain feels quiet but heavy. It often begins with small changes, shorter conversations, less eye contact, fewer shared moments. Parents sense the shift before words ever confirm it. The heart notices distance long before the mind accepts it. Many parents replay memories in their minds. Moments of care, years of effort, sacrifices made without hesitation. When distance appears, those memories can turn into questions. Was something missed? Was something done wrong? These thoughts arrive uninvited and stay longer than expected. This emotional weight is common, yet rarely spoken about. Parents often stay silent, believing they are alone in this experience. But countless families walk the same path quietly. The feeling of loss exists even when the child is still alive and nearby. This outline opens the conversation honestly. It acknowledges the emotional reality without blame. It creates a safe space for parents who feel unseen. The message begins here with understanding, not judgment. Raising a child requires patience, consistency, and deep care. Parents invest years shaping values, routines, and habits. Much of this work happens without recognition. Love is given daily, often without expectation of return. When a child turns away later in life, it can feel like those years suddenly disappear. Parents may feel as though their efforts no longer matter. The silence from a child can feel louder than any argument. It creates confusion where confidence once lived. This emotional conflict does not mean the foundation was weak. Growth and independence often come with distance. Many children step away not because they reject love, but because they are trying to understand themselves. This section reframes the experience. It reminds parents that effort is never erased. Influence does not vanish simply because connection changes. What was planted early still exists, even if it is dormant. Emotional pain within families is often hidden. Society celebrates close families, but rarely discusses separation. Parents may smile in public while carrying private grief. This silence can deepen the wound. The lack of open conversation makes parents feel isolated. They may avoid sharing their experience out of fear of judgment. Questions from others can feel uncomfortable. Simple phrases like, "How are your kids?" can reopen emotional scars. This silence does not mean weakness. It reflects how deeply parents care. Love creates vulnerability, and vulnerability often hides when it feels unsafe. Many parents choose quiet endurance over public honesty. This part of the script validates that experience. It assures viewers they are not unusual or broken. Their emotions are natural responses to emotional distance, not signs of failure. Rejection from a child cuts differently than other forms of rejection. It challenges identity, purpose, and self-worth. Parents may begin to question who they are beyond their role. The emotional impact reaches deep. These feelings often trigger self-blame. Parents search their past for mistakes. Small decisions grow larger in hindsight. The mind creates stories that may not be accurate, but they feel real. This internal struggle can quietly affect daily life. Sleep becomes lighter. Thoughts linger longer. Joy feels distant. The emotional weight shows up in subtle ways, often unnoticed by others. This outline shifts the narrative. It separates a child's choices from a parent's worth. It emphasizes that identity is not defined by outcomes, but by intention, effort, and love. Many parents measure themselves by results. When relationships strain, they assume responsibility automatically. This mindset feels logical, but it is often incomplete. Life is influenced by many forces beyond parenting. Children grow into independent individuals with their own experiences, pressures, and influences. Their decisions are shaped by environments, relationships, and personal struggles. Parents cannot control every factor, no matter how involved they were. Understanding this truth does not remove pain, but it reduces unnecessary guilt. Responsibility and control are not the same. Loving guidance does not guarantee a specific outcome. This section encourages a healthier perspective. It invites parents to release unrealistic expectations. It replaces self-accusation with clarity and emotional balance. Parents often believe responsibility never ends. Even when children grow older, concern stays constant. This sense of responsibility can quietly turn into pressure. Parents feel they must fix everything, even when the situation is beyond their reach. When a child pulls away, this pressure increases. Parents may feel an invisible weight to repair the relationship immediately. The desire to correct things quickly can create emotional exhaustion. Effort turns into stress instead of peace. This moment calls for a different understanding. Responsibility does not mean control. Care does not mean constant intervention. Sometimes love means allowing space while remaining emotionally available. This outline gently introduces that idea. It reassures parents that stepping back does not equal neglect. It can be a sign of trust, maturity, and emotional wisdom. Distance can feel personal even when it is not intentional. A child may withdraw for reasons they cannot explain clearly. Internal confusion often leads to emotional separation. Silence becomes easier than conversation. Parents may interpret this silence as rejection. The lack of communication can create emotional tension. Thoughts fill the gap where words are missing. Assumptions grow in quiet spaces. This section helps parents understand emotional withdrawal differently. It highlights that silence often reflects inner struggle, not lack of love. Many children pull away because they are overwhelmed, not disconnected. Understanding this reduces emotional pressure. It allows parents to respond with patience instead of fear. Calm presence becomes more powerful than urgent answers. Time changes relationships. What once felt close can feel unfamiliar. This shift can feel sudden, but it usually develops slowly. Small moments of disconnection build quietly over time. Parents often notice these changes after they have already settled in. Looking back, the signs become clearer. But during the process, they are easy to miss. Life moves quickly, and emotional shifts hide easily. This outline focuses on awareness, not regret. It encourages reflection without self-judgment. Recognizing change is not the same as causing it. The message here is gentle acceptance. Understanding how distance forms helps parents respond with clarity instead of panic. Awareness creates space for healthier reactions. Parents often want answers. They want explanations. When a child offers none, frustration grows. Uncertainty can feel more painful than truth. This desire for clarity can lead to repeated questions. Parents may push for conversation before the child is ready. Good intentions sometimes create more distance instead of closeness. This part of the script emphasizes timing. Not every question needs an immediate answer. Emotional readiness matters more than urgency. Learning to wait can protect the relationship. Patience keeps doors open. Pressuring conversations can unintentionally close them. Emotional separation often changes daily routines. Messages become shorter, Visits become less frequent. These changes feel small individually, but together they carry weight. Parents may notice habits shifting. Shared meals disappear. Traditions fade quietly. These losses feel personal and deeply emotional. This outline acknowledges that grief does not always come from dramatic events. Sometimes it grows from gradual absence. Recognizing this grief is important. Naming the loss allows healing to begin. Ignoring it only deepens the emotional strain. This section validates quiet grief without exaggeration. Many parents question their communication style. They replay conversations in their minds. Words spoken years ago suddenly feel significant. Tone, timing, and reactions are re-examined endlessly. This self-review can be helpful in moderation, but excessive analysis often leads to unnecessary self-criticism. Memory becomes selective under emotional stress. This section introduces balance. Reflection should lead to growth, not punishment. Learning does not require shame. Parents are encouraged to see communication as evolving. What worked once may change. Adaptation matters more than perfection. Comparison often increases emotional pain. Seeing other families appear close can deepen feelings of loss. Social media intensifies this effect by showing only positive moments. Parents may begin measuring their experience against others. This creates unrealistic expectations. Every family has unseen challenges. This outline reminds viewers that appearance is not reality. Many families struggle privately. Distance is more common than it seems. Releasing comparison restores emotional stability. Each family's journey is unique. Progress looks different for everyone. Control can feel comforting during uncertainty. Parents may attempt to manage outcomes through advice or warnings. These efforts usually come from care, not dominance. However, excessive control often leads to resistance. Independence naturally pushes back against pressure. This creates emotional tension on both sides. This section explores the difference between guidance and control. One supports growth, the other limits it. Understanding this difference helps parents adjust their approach. Influence grows stronger when pressure decreases. Letting go is often misunderstood. It does not mean disengaging emotionally. It means trusting the process of growth. This distinction matters deeply. Parents may fear that releasing control equals losing connection. In reality, trust often strengthens long-term bonds. This outline reframes letting go as an active choice. It requires strength, patience, and emotional maturity. It is not passive. Learning this skill protects both parent and child. It reduces conflict and preserves respect over time. Emotional resilience becomes essential during seasons of distance. Parents must manage their own emotional health. Ignoring personal well-being increases stress and anxiety. This section highlights the importance of self-care. Rest, routine, and emotional outlets matter. Stability begins internally. When parents care for themselves, they respond more calmly. Emotional regulation improves communication. This benefits the entire relationship. Strength is not suppression. Strength is awareness and balance. This outline encourages sustainable emotional health. Hope often feels fragile during separation. Parents may fear disappointment. They guard their expectations carefully. This emotional protection feels necessary. However, eliminating hope entirely leads to emotional numbness. Balance is needed. Hope does not require certainty. This outline introduces realistic hope. It is steady, not dramatic. It allows for growth without pressure. Maintaining balanced hope supports emotional endurance. It keeps parents grounded without creating false expectations. Silence can feel uncomfortable. Many parents fill it with worry. The mind creates scenarios that may not reflect reality. Anxiety grows in these gaps. This section explains how uncertainty fuels fear. The absence of information does not equal negative outcomes. The mind often assumes the worst. Learning to pause mental speculation reduces emotional stress. Silence becomes neutral instead of threatening. This shift brings emotional relief. Calm thinking supports healthier responses. Peace grows gradually. Change often feels like loss before it feels like growth. This applies strongly to parent-child relationships. New phases can feel unfamiliar and uncomfortable. Parents may mourn earlier closeness. Memories feel distant. This emotional transition deserves acknowledgement. This outline validates that grief, without labeling it as failure. Change does not erase history. It reshapes connection. Accepting new dynamics allows relationships to evolve. Resistance often delays emotional adjustment. Patience is not passive waiting. It is active emotional steadiness. This distinction matters during times of uncertainty. Parents often underestimate the power of calm consistency. Emotional stability communicates safety without words. This section emphasizes steady presence, not constant advice, not repeated explanations, just availability. Consistency builds trust over time. Trust creates space for reconnection when readiness appears. Every family story continues beyond present challenges. Current distance does not define the future. Perspective changes with time and experience. This outline encourages long-term thinking. Emotional seasons shift. What feels permanent often is not. Recognizing this reduces fear. It allows parents to breathe and reset emotionally. Pressure decreases. The message closes this segment with reassurance. The journey is ongoing. Growth continues quietly. Life often teaches lessons through experience rather than instruction. Children may need to face situations on their own to understand consequences. Advice given too early or too often can lose impact. Experience leaves a deeper mark than words. Parents usually want to prevent pain. This instinct is natural and protective, but protection can sometimes delay growth. Learning independently builds resilience and self-awareness. This outline focuses on acceptance. It explains that distance may serve a developmental purpose. Growth does not always happen within comfort zones. Understanding this helps parents release unnecessary guilt. It allows them to trust the learning process. Growth often begins where guidance ends. Struggle often shapes character. Challenges expose strengths that comfort never reveals. Children who face hardship alone may discover inner capability they did not know they had. Parents may fear that struggle will damage their child permanently. This fear is understandable. However, difficulty often produces maturity rather than harm. This section reframes struggle as a shaping force. It explains how difficulty can clarify values and direction. Hard seasons often bring long-term insight. Parents are reminded that growth is rarely smooth. Discomfort can lead to wisdom. Wisdom builds stronger futures. Waiting can feel unbearable. When emotions are involved, time moves slowly. When answers are missing, each day feels heavier than the last. Parents often struggle with patience during uncertainty. The desire for immediate resolution becomes intense. Waiting feels like doing nothing. This outline explains that waiting is an active process. Emotional strength develops during stillness. Stability forms quietly. Learning to wait without panic preserves peace. Calm waiting prevents reactive decisions. This steadiness protects relationships. Quiet moments often hold the most unseen progress. Change rarely announces itself. It develops gradually unnoticed until reflection reveals it. Parents may assume nothing is happening during silence. This assumption increases worry. In reality, internal growth often happens privately. This section highlights unseen development. Growth does not require visibility to be real. Internal shifts often precede outward change. Trusting this process reduces emotional pressure. It allows patience to replace anxiety. Calm awareness brings balance. Emotional weight often accumulates unnoticed. Parents carry concern while managing daily responsibilities. Over time, this burden affects energy and focus. Many parents ignore their emotional strain. They prioritize others while neglecting themselves. This leads to exhaustion. This outline encourages acknowledgement of emotional fatigue. Recognizing strain is not weakness, it is awareness. Addressing emotional health improves clarity. Balanced emotions support better responses. Strength begins with honesty. Feeling unseen intensifies emotional pain. When struggles remain unrecognized, isolation grows. Parents may feel invisible within their own families. This sense of invisibility can affect self-worth. Validation feels distant. Emotional needs go unmet. This section reassures parents that their experience matters. Lack of recognition does not reduce value. Worth exists independently. Understanding this restores confidence. Self-worth stabilizes emotions. Inner validation becomes essential. Words spoken years ago often resurface in memory. Parents remember advice, encouragement, and guidance given during early years. These moments remain meaningful. Parents may doubt whether those words still matter. Silence can make past effort feel wasted. This doubt creates discouragement. This outline emphasizes lasting influence. Early guidance often stays dormant until needed. Impact is not always immediate. Recognizing this provides reassurance. Influence does not expire. Time often activates earlier lessons. Faith in outcomes often weakens during uncertainty. Confidence fades when results are delayed. Parents may feel emotionally unsteady. This section explains how uncertainty tests emotional endurance. Stability becomes harder to maintain. Doubt replaces confidence quietly. Learning to remain steady during uncertainty strengthens resilience. Emotional grounding becomes essential. This steadiness helps parents respond calmly. Calm responses preserve connection. Stability creates safety. Comparison often distorts perception. Parents may measure their family against others. This comparison creates unrealistic standards. Seeing others appear successful intensifies disappointment. Appearances hide complexity. Reality is rarely visible. This outline encourages disengaging from comparison. Every family navigates unique challenges. No story is identical. Releasing comparison restores peace. Emotional balance improves. Self-acceptance strengthens resilience. Pressure often builds silently. Parents may feel internal urgency to fix everything. This pressure becomes overwhelming. This internal demand creates stress. Stress affects communication. Tension increases emotional distance. This section highlights the importance of releasing pressure. Urgency rarely improves outcomes. Calm fosters clarity. Reducing pressure allows healthier interaction. Emotional space opens naturally. Peace becomes possible. Independence requires exploration. Children often distance themselves to define identity. This process is natural, though painful for parents. Parents may interpret independence as rejection. This misunderstanding increases emotional strain. Separation feels personal. This outline explains independence as development, not abandonment. Growth requires autonomy. Identity forms through separation. Understanding this eases emotional pain. It reframes distance positively. Growth becomes the focus. Emotional connection does not disappear instantly. It weakens gradually. Small moments of detachment accumulate. Parents often overlook early signs. Busy schedules distract attention. Awareness comes later. This section encourages gentle reflection. Recognizing patterns helps understanding. Awareness replaces confusion. Clarity allows better response. Understanding prevents overreaction. Calm insight guides behavior. Tears often carry unspoken emotion. Crying releases pressure built over time. It reflects care, not weakness. Parents may hide tears to appear strong. Suppression increases emotional strain. Release becomes necessary. This outline validates emotional expression. Allowing emotion supports healing. Strength includes vulnerability. Accepting emotion improves resilience. Emotional honesty restores balance. Healing begins internally. Self-blame often becomes habitual. Parents internalize responsibility quickly. This habit damages emotional health. Repeated self-criticism reinforces negativity. Confidence declines. Emotional fatigue increases. This section challenges self-blame. Responsibility does not equal fault. Complexity exists. Replacing blame with understanding restores peace. Compassion improves clarity. Balance returns gradually. Reassurance often arrives quietly. It appears through understanding rather than answers. Peace grows subtly. Parents may expect dramatic resolution. In reality, emotional clarity develops slowly. Stability builds over time. This outline emphasizes gradual reassurance. Progress is not always visible. Calm replaces urgency. Ending this segment, the message reinforces patience. Trust develops quietly. Emotional strength deepens. Parents often search for reassurance in signs. They look for messages, replies, or changes in behavior. When nothing appears, anxiety quietly grows. The absence of response feels heavier than negative words. This emotional tension can lead to overthinking. Small details gain exaggerated meaning. Silence becomes interpreted as rejection, even when it may simply reflect emotional processing. This outline explains how reassurance does not always arrive externally. Sometimes it forms internally through understanding and acceptance. Calm thinking creates its own stability. Learning to self-soothe emotionally helps parents regain balance. It reduces dependence on external validation. Inner steadiness protects emotional health. Consistency becomes a quiet strength during distance. Parents who remain emotionally steady provide a sense of safety. Stability communicates care without pressure. In contrast, emotional swings can confuse already overwhelmed children. Reacting strongly to silence may increase withdrawal. Calm responses invite openness. This section focuses on emotional regulation. Staying steady does not mean suppressing feelings. It means choosing responses carefully. Consistency builds trust over time. It allows relationships to remain open-ended. Calm presence leaves room for reconnection. Expectations often shape disappointment. Parents may imagine how relationships should look. When reality differs, frustration grows. Unmet expectations can lead to resentment. Resentment damages communication. Emotional distance widens. This outline encourages flexible expectations. Relationships evolve. Holding rigid standards increases pain. Adjusting expectations reduces internal conflict. Acceptance creates emotional freedom. Peace replaces resistance. Parents often feel torn between reaching out and giving space. Both choices feel risky. Too much contact may feel intrusive. Too little may feel uncaring. This uncertainty creates hesitation. Parents second-guess every action. Emotional tension increases. This section explains that balance matters more than perfection. Intent matters more than timing. Thoughtful presence speaks louder than frequency. Trusting instinct while remaining respectful protects connection. Balance supports emotional safety. Confidence grows gradually. Emotional fatigue often goes unnoticed. Parents continue functioning while carrying inner stress. Over time, exhaustion affects mood and focus. Fatigue can reduce patience. Small frustrations feel larger. Emotional responses intensify unexpectedly. This outline highlights the need for rest. Emotional rest is as important as physical rest. Recovery restores clarity. Prioritizing rest improves emotional resilience. Calm energy improves communication. Balance returns slowly. Grief can exist without clear loss. Parents grieve what once was. Familiar closeness becomes memory. This type of grief often lacks recognition. Without acknowledgement, it deepens silently. Emotions remain unresolved. This section validates ambiguous grief. Loss does not require finality. Emotional change can still hurt deeply. Naming griefs supports healing. Recognition reduces isolation. Emotional clarity grows. Emotional support often shifts during adulthood. Children rely less on parents and more on peers. This transition can feel abrupt. Parents may feel replaced or unnecessary. These feelings hurt but are rarely intentional. This outline reframes shifting support systems as natural. Growth expands connections. It does not erase earlier bonds. Understanding this reduces insecurity. Confidence strengthens emotional responses. Acceptance brings calm. Parents may fear saying the wrong thing. This fear leads to silence. Silence then feels safer than conversation. Avoiding communication can increase emotional distance. Silence may be misunderstood as lack of interest. This section encourages thoughtful communication. Simple, non-demanding messages maintain connection. Tone matters more than content. Gentle communication keeps doors open. Respect builds trust. Emotional safety remains intact. Hope often fluctuates. Some days feel optimistic, others feel heavy. This emotional inconsistency is normal. Parents may feel guilty for losing hope temporarily. They may believe hope should remain constant. This outline normalizes emotional shifts. Hope does not disappear permanently. It rests and returns. Allowing emotional fluctuation reduces pressure. Self-compassion stabilizes feelings. Balance improves over time. Time often reshapes perspective. Situations that feel overwhelming today may feel manageable later. Distance offers clarity. Parents may struggle to imagine this future clarity. Present pain dominates focus. This section emphasizes long-term perspective. Emotions change. Understanding evolves. Trusting time reduces urgency. Patience replaces fear. Calm thinking returns gradually. Parents sometimes internalize rejection even without clear evidence. Emotional distance feels personal. Identity becomes questioned. This internalization damages confidence. Self-worth declines unnecessarily. Emotional health suffers. This outline separates behavior from worth. Actions do not define value. Worth remains constant. Reinforcing self-value restores emotional stability. Confidence improves responses. Strength grows quietly. Boundaries become important during emotional distance. Parents must protect their own emotional well-being. Overextension leads to burnout. Healthy boundaries allow care without self-sacrifice. They prevent resentment from building. This section explains boundaries as protection, not withdrawal. Balance maintains emotional health. Respecting boundaries supports long-term connection. Energy stays sustainable. Peace increases. Parents often wait for apologies or explanations. Waiting can create emotional stagnation. Healing feels delayed. This expectation places control outside oneself. Emotional progress becomes dependent on others. This outline encourages internal healing. Closure does not always require explanation. Peace can form independently. Letting go of expectations restores control. Emotional freedom increases. Healing advances. Memory can intensify emotion. Parents recall moments of closeness vividly. These memories bring comfort and pain. Nostalgia can trap emotions in the past. Comparison with the present deepens sadness. This section promotes balanced remembrance. Memories should inform, not imprison. Growth includes honoring change. Using memory wisely supports acceptance. Emotional balance improves. Perspective widens. Resilience grows through repeated challenge. Each emotional test builds strength. Parents often underestimate their endurance. This outline recognizes quiet resilience. Strength develops through persistence, not perfection. Acknowledging resilience boosts confidence. Confidence steadies emotional responses. This segment closes with reinforcement. Parents are stronger than they realize. Growth continues quietly. Parents often tie their identity closely to their children's choices. When relationships strain, self-worth can quietly erode. Confidence once built on connection begins to feel unstable. This emotional shift can affect how parents see themselves. Doubt replaces certainty. Internal dialogue becomes critical instead of supportive. This outline reminds parents that identity is multi-layered. Life roles change, but personal value remains consistent. Worth is not conditional. Reconnecting with personal strengths restores confidence. Emotional stability grows. Identity becomes grounded again. Holding on to hope can feel risky. Parents fear disappointment. Protecting emotions becomes a survival strategy. This protective behavior may reduce openness. Emotional walls form quietly. Connection feels distant on both sides. This section explains that hope does not require certainty. Balanced hope allows emotional openness without unrealistic expectation. Learning to hold hope gently restores flexibility. Emotional resilience increases. Fear loses influence. Calm communication often feels unnatural during stress. Emotional reactions come easily. Thoughtful responses require effort. Parents may regret words spoken impulsively. Tone can matter more than content. Emotional reactions leave lasting impressions. This outline highlights mindful communication. Pausing before responding changes outcomes. Awareness improves interaction. Practicing calm responses builds trust. Emotional safety strengthens relationships. Understanding deepens. Parents may feel pressure to prove love through constant effort. Over-communication becomes common. Attention increases during distance. This intensity can overwhelm already stressed children. Good intentions may feel intrusive. Space becomes necessary. This section emphasizes balanced effort. Love does not require constant contact. Respect strengthens connection. Understanding this reduces frustration. Emotional harmony improves. Trust develops naturally. Long periods of uncertainty can drain energy. Emotional fatigue becomes chronic. Motivation decreases quietly. Parents may continue outward responsibilities while feeling empty inside. This imbalance affects well-being. This outline encourages energy awareness. Restoring emotional reserves is essential. Renewal prevents burnout. Intentional recovery supports clarity. Emotional strength returns gradually. Balance improves. Parents often question timing. They wonder when to reach out or remain silent. Fear of missteps increases hesitation. This indecision can feel paralyzing. Emotional tension builds without action. Uncertainty grows heavier. This section focuses on intuition. Thoughtful awareness guides better timing. Sensitivity matters. Trusting instinct reduces anxiety. Confidence increases. Responses feel more natural. Emotional maturity develops through challenge. Distance tests patience, restraint, and understanding. Growth occurs quietly. Parents may not recognize their own development. Focus remains on loss rather than progress. This outline highlights personal growth. Challenges refine emotional skills. Awareness deepens. Recognizing growth restores confidence. Strength becomes visible. Progress feels meaningful. Parents may fear being forgotten. Reduced contact feels like fading relevance. This fear affects emotional security. These feelings often go unspoken. Silence increases insecurity. Confidence wavers. This section reassures parents of lasting influence. Relationships change form, not meaning. Presence remains. Understanding this reduces fear. Emotional security strengthens. Confidence stabilizes. Letting go of control often brings relief. Resistance creates tension. Acceptance eases emotional strain. Parents may confuse control with care. Releasing control feels uncomfortable at first. This outline clarifies that care remains without control. Trust replaces force. Balance improves. Accepting uncertainty restores peace. Emotional freedom increases. Calm becomes sustainable. Self-care is often misunderstood. Parents may view it as selfish. Responsibility overshadows personal needs. Ignoring self-care leads to depletion. Emotional reserves shrink. Stress intensifies. This section reframes self-care as maintenance. Stability requires support. Strength depends on rest. Prioritizing well-being improves resilience. Emotional clarity returns. Energy renews. Negative thought patterns often repeat automatically. Parents may expect disappointment. Anticipation increases stress. These patterns reinforce fear. Emotional responses become predictable. Anxiety settles in. This outline encourages awareness of thought habits. Interrupting negative cycles reduces strain. Changing thought direction improves emotional health. Optimism becomes possible. Peace grows. Support systems matter during emotional distance. Isolation increases emotional weight. Sharing eases burden. Parents may hesitate to seek support. Pride or fear of judgment holds them back. This section highlights healthy support. Trusted connections provide perspective. Relief follows. Allowing support strengthens resilience. Emotional load lightens. Balance improves. Patience often feels unrewarded. Effort appears unnoticed. Emotional fatigue increases. Parents may question whether patience matters. Doubt creeps in quietly. This outline affirms the value of patience. Steady presence influences outcomes. Time reveals impact. Trusting patience restores hope. Emotional strength grows. Stability remains. Life transitions affect relationships. New responsibilities reshape priorities. Distance often reflects change, not rejection. Parents may overlook these external pressures. Emotional responses focus inward. This section broadens perspective. Understanding life stages clarifies behavior. Compassion grows. Recognizing context reduces hurt. Emotional clarity increases. Acceptance deepens. Acceptance often marks a turning point. Resistance fades. Emotional tension loosens. Parents may feel relief mixed with sadness. Both emotions coexist naturally. This outline emphasizes acceptance as strength. Letting reality exist reduces suffering. With acceptance comes calm. Emotional balance improves. Readiness for growth emerges. Understanding often begins when expectations soften. Parents may realize that their child's path looks different from what they imagined. This realization can feel unsettling at first, but it opens space for emotional adjustment. Accepting difference does not mean approving every choice. This shift allows parents to observe rather than react. Emotional distance becomes less personal and more contextual. Perspective expands beyond immediate feelings. Clarity replaces confusion gradually. This outline encourages emotional flexibility. Growth requires adaptation on both sides. Rigid expectations often create unnecessary pain. With flexibility comes relief. Emotional tension eases. Relationships gain room to breathe and evolve naturally. Parents often underestimate how much internal change occurs during silence. Even without visible communication, reflection may be happening privately. Silence does not always signal indifference. It can signal processing. This misunderstanding fuels anxiety. Parents assume lack of care where uncertainty exists. Emotional assumptions grow stronger than facts. This section explains the value of unseen reflection. Internal growth often precedes outward change. Time supports this process. Trusting unseen development reduces stress. Patience replaces fear. Emotional balance strengthens. Emotional endurance becomes necessary during prolonged distance. Parents learn to carry uncertainty without constant reassurance. This endurance develops quietly. At first, endurance feels heavy. Over time, it builds confidence. Parents realize they can handle discomfort more than expected. This outline highlights emotional stamina. Repeated challenges strengthen inner capacity. Resilience forms gradually. Recognizing endurance restores self-belief. Confidence increases. Emotional stability becomes more consistent. Language shapes emotional outcomes. Words chosen during sensitive moments influence connection. Even well-meant phrases can affect trust. Parents may unintentionally use language that pressures or judges. Tone often carries more weight than intention. This section encourages mindful language. Neutral, supportive words reduce defensiveness. Listening becomes more effective. Careful communication preserves emotional safety. Relationships remain open. Trust deepens over time. Letting emotions settle before responding often improves outcomes. Immediate reactions can escalate tension. Delayed responses allow clarity. Parents may feel urgency to reply instantly. This urgency often comes from fear rather than necessity. This outline promotes thoughtful pacing. Space between feeling and response creates control. Calm thinking improves decisions. Practicing restraint strengthens emotional maturity. Interactions become steadier. Peace replaces urgency. Parents sometimes feel replaced by new influences in their child's life. Friends, work, or relationships take priority. This shift can feel painful. These changes may trigger insecurity. Parents question their relevance. Emotional confidence declines quietly. This section reframes influence as expanding, not replacing. New connections do not erase old bonds. They coexist. Understanding this reduces fear. Emotional security improves. Confidence stabilizes. Emotional attachment changes with age. Dependence transforms into independence. This transition often feels abrupt to parents. Parents may resist this change subconsciously. Resistance increases emotional friction. Acceptance reduces it. This outline explains attachment evolution. Relationships shift roles rather than disappear. Connection matures. Accepting new roles restores harmony. Emotional tension eases. Mutual respect grows. Parents often fear losing influence permanently. Reduced guidance feels like loss of purpose. This fear shapes reactions. This perception is often inaccurate. Influence remains through values, example, and consistency. Presence does not require proximity. This section reassures parents of lasting impact. Influence changes form, not existence. Meaning remains. Recognizing this restores purpose. Emotional grounding improves. Confidence returns. Emotional reactions often stem from unmet needs. Parents may need reassurance, appreciation, or acknowledgement. These needs deserve recognition. Ignoring personal needs increases frustration. Unspoken expectations lead to disappointment. Emotional clarity suffers. This outline encourages self-awareness. Identifying needs reduces resentment. Understanding improves communication. Meeting personal needs responsibly restores balance. Emotional health strengthens. Stability increases. Healing often begins with understanding patterns. Repeated emotional cycles become noticeable over time. Awareness interrupts repetition. Parents may notice recurring triggers. Certain topics or behaviors cause consistent reactions. Patterns reveal insight. This section highlights the power of awareness. Recognizing patterns allows intentional change. Growth becomes possible. Breaking cycles improves emotional responses. Relationships benefit. Peace becomes sustainable. Time apart can clarify values. Distance encourages reflection on what truly matters. Priorities often shift. Parents may realize which concerns were essential and which were not. Perspective deepens through space. This outline emphasizes clarity through distance. Separation can refine understanding. Focus improves. Clarity supports healthier connection. Emotional responses become grounded. Peace follows insight. Parents often confuse silence with disinterest. This assumption increases emotional pain. Silence may mean processing rather than avoidance. Misinterpretation leads to unnecessary worry. Emotional reactions intensify without evidence. This section encourages neutral interpretation. Absence of communication does not confirm negative intent. Patience matters. Neutral thinking reduces stress. Emotional balance improves. Calm replaces fear. Consistency in values offers quiet guidance. Parents influence through behavior more than instruction. Actions leave lasting impressions. Even without frequent communication, consistency remains visible. Integrity communicates reliability. Trust grows silently. This outline highlights example-based influence. Modeling stability matters deeply. Presence extends beyond words. Living values sustains connection. Emotional respect increases. Influence endures. Parents may experience emotional conflict between hope and realism. Balancing these emotions requires awareness. Extremes increase stress. Too much hope creates disappointment. Too little hope creates despair. Balance stabilizes emotions. This section promotes emotional moderation. Realistic optimism supports resilience. Expectations become healthier. Balanced emotion protects mental health. Stability improves. Peace becomes achievable. Growth often becomes visible only in hindsight. Parents may not notice progress day to day. Change reveals itself gradually. Looking back provides perspective. What once felt stagnant may show quiet development. Understanding deepens. This outline encourages reflection over time. Progress often hides within patience. Awareness reveals it later. Recognizing growth restores encouragement. Emotional strength increases. Readiness for the next phase emerges. Parents often feel a constant pull between hope and fear when children turn away. Every unanswered call, every missed visit triggers worry. The mind races with scenarios, imagining every possible negative outcome. This constant tension can be exhausting, leaving parents emotionally drained and uncertain. In many cases, the fear of permanent separation overwhelms the ability to think clearly. Parents may replay old conversations, trying to pinpoint a mistake, as if one error could explain the distance. Yet distance is rarely caused by a single moment. It usually grows slowly, influenced by multiple factors in a child's life. Recognizing this helps parents see the situation differently. Distance does not necessarily signal rejection. Often it reflects the child's need to process, explore, or understand life independently. Understanding this distinction reduces unnecessary self-blame and emotional panic. This outline sets the stage for patience and awareness. It encourages parents to step back without disengaging emotionally, to observe rather than react, and to nurture hope quietly while preparing for gradual reconnection. Emotional tension often arises when parents interpret withdrawal as personal failure. The sense that years of effort, guidance, and love have been wasted is powerful. Every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every difficult conversation may feel overshadowed by silence or avoidance. Yet emotional detachment does not erase influence. Children carry the lessons and values instilled in early life. Even if they appear distant, the foundation of character built over years remains, often waiting for the right moment to resurface. This outline emphasizes the importance of long-term perspective. Parents are encouraged to see past immediate reactions and recognize that influence is enduring. What is planted does not vanish simply because the child is quiet or withdrawn. By focusing on sustained influence rather than immediate outcomes, parents reduce frustration and foster emotional resilience. They learn to value the unseen impact of their care while remaining hopeful for eventual reconnection. Parents may notice physical and emotional fatigue as they navigate distance. Daily routines continue. Responsibilities pile up, yet a persistent worry lingers. The emotional weight can manifest in sleep disturbances, irritability, or difficulty focusing, all of which quietly intensify anxiety. Internalized stress often drives excessive attempts to fix the situation. Parents may send repeated messages, try to schedule more contact, or overanalyze every minor interaction. Ironically, these attempts can unintentionally create more distance, as pressure can feel invasive. Understanding the difference between guidance and control becomes crucial here. Care and availability are important, but insistence often undermines trust. Allowing space demonstrates respect while keeping doors open for future communication. This section teaches parents the value of emotional moderation. Stability and calm presence often carry more weight than direct intervention. Patience is an active form of support that nurtures trust without forcing engagement. Silent periods can feel overwhelmingly heavy. Parents may fill the silence with imagined outcomes, often leaning toward worst-case scenarios. The human mind naturally seeks closure, yet sometimes no immediate answer exists. This ambiguity generates emotional tension. Parents may struggle to differentiate between temporary withdrawal and lasting estrangement. Without clear signs, emotions fluctuate wildly, producing cycles of hope and disappointment. Recognizing the purpose of silence changes its emotional weight. Withdrawal is often a natural way for children to process emotions or explore independence. Silence does not always require interpretation or immediate response. By learning to tolerate silence without panic, parents protect their emotional energy. This quiet endurance allows them to stay available while preventing self-inflicted stress from overthinking. Parents often struggle with self-blame, questioning their past decisions. They may revisit every argument, every decision, every correction, wondering if one misstep caused the distance. This mental replay can feel like an endless spiral. Yet emotional withdrawal rarely stems from a single moment. Multiple external pressures, peer influence, life stress, personal challenges interact with parenting patterns. Recognizing this reduces the weight of unnecessary guilt. This outline emphasizes separating responsibility from control. Loving guidance does not guarantee a specific outcome. Influence exists, but independence and life circumstances also play significant roles. Accepting this truth allows parents to release excessive self-blame. Emotional energy is preserved, clarity improves, and patience becomes easier to sustain, creating space for reconnection without guilt. When children step back, daily routines can subtly shift. Conversations shorten, visits become less frequent, and shared experiences fade. Each small change compounds, creating a sense of gradual loss that may go unnoticed day to day. Parents often internalize these shifts, interpreting absence as rejection. The emotional response grows quietly over time, even though the child's intentions may be unrelated to these interpretations. This outline encourages awareness of subtle changes. Recognizing the distinction between perception and reality allows parents to respond more thoughtfully. Emotional responses guided by awareness reduce misunderstandings. By approaching these changes with understanding rather than panic, parents maintain emotional balance. They remain present and steady while avoiding reactions that could exacerbate distance. The feeling of invisibility intensifies during withdrawal. Parents may feel unseen, unappreciated, or undervalued. This emotional invisibility impacts self-esteem and confidence, even when the parent is active and caring. Acknowledging these feelings without judgment is vital. Emotional validation helps parents process the pain without amplifying it into self-criticism. This outline highlights emotional honesty. Recognizing hurt as natural rather than as personal failure protects mental well-being and reduces unnecessary stress. By validating their own emotions, parents strengthen resilience. Emotional clarity improves, allowing them to respond to their child with composure rather than frustration. Patterns of communication often reveal opportunities for reconnection. Parents may notice subtle responses, brief messages, small gestures that indicate the child is still open to engagement. Recognizing these cues helps reduce anxiety. Focusing on small signs rather than seeking dramatic resolutions stabilizes emotional responses. Every minor interaction is a potential bridge toward renewed closeness. This outline emphasizes attentiveness over control. Emotional presence matters more than frequent contact. Influence persists quietly, even when visible acknowledgement is limited. By noticing subtle cues, parents maintain hope without pressure. Relationships stay gently nurtured, leaving space for natural reconnection. Parents often fear losing their role in their child's life permanently. This fear can lead to overcompensation or attempts to over-influence. Excessive involvement may create tension and resistance. Recognizing that influence is lasting even without constant interaction shifts perspective. The values, habits, and lessons shared over years continue to shape the child's choices in subtle ways. This outline encourages trust in long-term impact rather than immediate visibility. Patience and quiet guidance often have more enduring effects than frequent corrections or interventions. By trusting in the unseen influence, parents regain emotional freedom, pressure decreases, composure improves, and hope remains steady for eventual reconnection. Parents may experience emotional whiplash, swinging between optimism and despair. One day seems hopeful, the next feels hopeless. This emotional fluctuation is exhausting and can cloud judgment. Recognizing these fluctuations as natural helps reduce self-criticism. Emotional steadiness develops gradually through repeated experience and awareness. This outline encourages strategies to stabilize emotions, including self-care, reflection, and mindfulness. Managing internal reactions preserves energy for meaningful engagement. Emotional balance allows parents to remain present and supportive without reactive behavior. Hope and patience coexist, reducing stress and tension. Distance can provoke fear of permanent separation. Parents may worry that the relationship is irreversibly damaged. This fear intensifies when attempts at communication seem ineffective. Understanding that distance does not equate to loss helps mitigate panic. Children often withdraw temporarily to process emotions or explore independence. This outline emphasizes perspective. Recognizing that separation is often functional rather than punitive stabilizes emotional responses. Parents who internalize this perspective act with calm awareness. Emotional presence remains available while respecting the child's space, fostering eventual reconnection. Parents sometimes revisit past memories obsessively. Moments of connection replay in the mind, intensifying feelings of longing. Each memory highlights the contrast between past closeness and current distance. This reflective habit can create emotional strain if unchecked. Nostalgia without understanding may amplify sadness and self-blame. This outline introduces mindful reflection. Memories are useful for perspective, but should not dictate current emotional stability. Balanced reflection preserves emotional energy. It encourages gratitude for shared experiences while maintaining composure amid current challenges. Uncertainty often triggers attempts to control outcomes. Parents may try to orchestrate interactions or predict responses. This sense of urgency often backfires. Recognizing the limits of control fosters emotional freedom. Children must navigate independence without constant guidance. This outline teaches that influence is subtle and enduring. Trust replaces compulsion, allowing relationships to breathe. By releasing control, parents reduce stress and create opportunities for organic reconnection. Calm steadiness becomes the foundation for renewed connection. Self-care becomes crucial during prolonged emotional distance. Parents may focus entirely on the child's needs, neglecting their own health, energy, or mental clarity. Ignoring personal well-being leads to depletion, making patience and emotional regulation difficult. Emotional availability suffers. This outline emphasizes the necessity of balance. Care for oneself ensures sustainable support and presence. Emotional energy replenishment allows longer-term engagement. When parents maintain self-care, they approach reconnection with clarity, resilience, and composure. Emotional health strengthens both parent and child. Finally, hope often manifests quietly. Progress may be invisible in the moment. Over time, subtle shifts in behavior, tone, or responsiveness reveal that influence remains and reconnection is possible. Parents may feel frustrated when change is slow, but long-term impact often emerges gradually. Seeds planted years ago resurface unexpectedly. This outline encourages trust in the gradual process. Change does not need to be immediate to be meaningful. Patience sustains long-term relationships. Remaining emotionally present while allowing space nurtures eventual reconnection. Hope, steadiness, and understanding combine to create the foundation for renewed connection. Parents often feel caught between hope and despair during prolonged distance. Each day without meaningful communication increases anxiety and self-doubt. The mind searches for signs, interpreting every minor gesture or absence as proof of failure, and this constant mental analysis can be exhausting. Despite the fear, influence continues quietly. Values, lessons, and character shaped over years do not vanish because of temporary withdrawal. Children retain internalized guidance that may resurface when circumstances are right. This outline emphasizes the importance of perspective. Emotional stability grows when parents recognize that distance is not rejection, but a phase of personal development for the child. Understanding this distinction prevents unnecessary guilt and overreaction. By fostering patience and steady presence, parents allow space for natural reconnection. Calm endurance provides a foundation of trust that children can return to when ready, ensuring influence remains intact even when unseen. Emotional fatigue is a common byproduct of perceived rejection. Parents may feel drained, emotionally stretched, and perpetually anxious, especially when they try repeatedly to bridge the gap without response. This persistent stress can slowly erode confidence. Overcompensation often occurs when parents attempt to force reconnection. Excessive contact, frequent messages, or constant advice may inadvertently increase distance, as children may feel pressured or overwhelmed. This outline highlights the power of subtle influence over overt effort. Remaining available without insistence communicates love and stability more effectively than active pursuit. Patience and consistent care outweigh frequent interventions. Parents who recognize and regulate their emotional responses regain clarity. Calm presence strengthens relationships over time, allowing children to reconnect naturally without feeling coerced. Isolation can create distorted perceptions. Parents may assume that distance equates to rejection, imagining the worst-case scenarios repeatedly. This mental amplification intensifies emotional strain and reduces confidence in judgment. However, distance often signals the child's need for space to explore independence, process emotions, or develop identity. This behavior is not necessarily reflective of parental inadequacy. This outline encourages reframing assumptions. Observing patterns without immediate judgment prevents unnecessary tension. Understanding that separation serves developmental purposes allows parents to remain supportive without anxiety. By separating perception from reality, parents regain emotional composure. Patience and steady encouragement can nurture eventual reconnection while preserving self-esteem. Parents sometimes revisit past mistakes obsessively. Every disagreement, correction, or miscommunication may feel magnified during distance. Emotional replay can intensify guilt and foster the false belief that every moment shaped the withdrawal. Yet children's choices are influenced by multiple factors, including external pressures, peers, and personal experiences. Recognizing the complexity of human behavior reduces the emotional burden parents carry unnecessarily. This outline emphasizes focusing on what can be influenced, ongoing support, availability, and stability, rather than dwelling on past actions. Continuous presence matters more than hypothetical mistakes. Parents who embrace this mindset preserve emotional energy and clarity. Stability nurtures long-term influence, leaving space for eventual reconnection without stress or resentment. Parents may notice subtle cues that indicate openness, even during apparent withdrawal. Small gestures, brief messages, or minimal responses can signal that the child is processing rather than rejecting. Focusing on these small signs fosters hope and stabilizes emotions. Obsessing over absence alone creates unnecessary stress and anxiety. This outline encourages attentiveness without pressure. Emotional presence matters more than frequent intervention. By observing and responding thoughtfully, parents maintain connection quietly. Recognizing subtle opportunities allows parents to remain supportive while respecting boundaries. This balance nurtures trust and lays the foundation for reconnection when the child is ready. Fear of losing influence permanently often drives over-engagement. Parents may attempt to control or guide interactions excessively, believing they can prevent permanent distance. This urgency can backfire, creating tension. Recognizing that influence is enduring even when not visible shifts perspective. Character, values, and lessons imparted over years remain, subtly shaping the child's decisions and attitudes. This outline highlights long-term impact over immediate visibility. Quiet influence, consistency, and modeled behavior often have greater lasting effect than repeated instruction. Parents who trust in unseen influence reduce pressure on themselves and their children. Emotional balance strengthens, relationships remain open, and reconnection becomes more likely. Distance often generates emotional whiplash. Parents may oscillate between hope and despair, optimism and fear. This emotional turbulence can cloud judgment and decision-making. Recognizing emotional fluctuation as natural allows parents to normalize their experience. Awareness reduces guilt and helps develop coping strategies. This outline promotes emotional regulation. Techniques such as self-reflection, mindfulness, and balanced engagement prevent extreme reactions from interfering with long-term connection. By stabilizing emotional responses, parents maintain a consistent presence. Calm endurance supports trust and preserves avenues for eventual reconnection. Memories often play a critical role in sustaining hope. Parents may recall moments of closeness, shared laughter, or guidance that had impact, reinforcing the belief that bonds still exist beneath the surface. However, nostalgia can also amplify pain if parents focus on absence instead of process. Balanced reflection helps differentiate between longing and constructive hope. This outline emphasizes mindful reflection. Memories provide perspective and reassurance without fostering unhealthy fixation or unrealistic expectation. Reflecting constructively strengthens emotional endurance. Parents maintain hope, composure, and awareness, which are critical for sustained support during periods of distance. Attempts to control outcomes often lead to frustration. Parents may try to dictate interaction frequency, tone, or engagement. While well-intentioned, these efforts can intensify emotional distance. Recognizing the limits of control shifts focus to influence rather than management. Children's autonomy requires parents to accept natural rhythms of connection and withdrawal. This outline underscores the importance of influence through consistency and availability rather than coercion. Calm presence conveys care more effectively than control. By letting go of undue control, parents reduce stress and allow space for organic reconnection. Stability and composure enhance long-term relationships. Self-care is essential but often neglected during prolonged concern for children. Parents may prioritize the child's needs over their own, leading to exhaustion, emotional depletion, and decreased patience. Neglecting personal well-being limits the ability to respond thoughtfully. Emotional volatility increases when energy is low. This outline emphasizes that self-care supports sustainable engagement. Balanced attention to personal health and emotional reserves ensures parents remain available without overextending. When parents care for themselves, they maintain composure, patience, and clarity. Emotional energy is preserved, creating healthier conditions for reconnection. Patterns of behavior often reveal opportunities for reconnection. Parents may notice slight engagement attempts, such as brief messages, subtle gestures, or hints of communication that signal openness. Focusing on these positive signals stabilizes emotions and prevents overreaction to perceived rejection. This outline highlights the power of observation and patience. Responding thoughtfully to small cues reinforces connection without pressure. Recognizing and honoring subtle patterns nurtures trust, maintains hope, and facilitates eventual reconnection naturally. Parents often fear that independence means abandonment. When children step away, emotional responses can include insecurity, sadness, and fear of irrelevance. Understanding that independence is a developmental necessity reframes distance. Children explore autonomy to grow, not to sever bonds. This outline emphasizes the distinction between temporary separation and permanent rejection. Awareness reduces emotional volatility. By embracing this perspective, parents maintain composure, sustain presence, and provide support without interfering, creating an environment where reconnection is possible. Emotional cycles can become repetitive during periods of distance. Parents may experience recurring anxiety, frustration, or self-doubt in predictable patterns. Recognizing these cycles allows parents to intervene constructively. Awareness creates opportunities to pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This outline promotes emotional mindfulness. Understanding patterns reduces unnecessary stress and improves long-term relational outcomes. Mindful engagement breaks harmful cycles. Parents regain clarity, composure, and readiness for reconnection when the child is prepared. Time apart can clarify priorities and values. Distance encourages parents to focus on long-term influence rather than immediate results. Perspective grows with patience. Parents may realize that emotional reactions were previously exaggerated. The space allows reassessment of what truly matters. This outline emphasizes the importance of reflection. Time reveals which interactions are meaningful and which are distractions. By incorporating this perspective, parents approach relationships with calm wisdom. Emotional balance increases, trust deepens, and opportunities for connection multiply. Finally, hope and influence often manifest subtly and unexpectedly. Children may reconnect in small ways sometimes after long periods of silence. Even when it seems absent, the parent's impact endures. Parents may be surprised by the timing or manner of reconnection, revealing that patience and steady presence were effective all along. This outline underscores that influence is enduring and often invisible. Long-term impact often outpaces immediate recognition. By maintaining calm, steady engagement, and trusting the gradual process, parents create a foundation for meaningful reconnection. Emotional resilience and hope remain intact. Parents often feel uncertainty when communication dwindles. Questions arise constantly. Why are they distant? Are we doing something wrong? These thoughts can dominate mental space, leaving little room for clarity. However, children's withdrawal is frequently about their personal challenges rather than parental inadequacy. External pressures, social influence, or self-discovery journeys contribute to temporary distance. This outline emphasizes shifting focus from blame to observation. Understanding that distance may serve a functional purpose reduces unnecessary stress and anxiety. By reframing the situation, parents can maintain emotional stability. Calm awareness encourages patience and ensures that the parent's influence remains subtle but consistent. Emotional resilience becomes essential. When children step back, the ebb and flow of connection tests patience, endurance, and composure. Repeated uncertainty can challenge even the most emotionally mature parents. This outline highlights the importance of acknowledging feelings without letting them dictate reactions. Emotional awareness allows parents to navigate challenges without escalating tension. Gradual acceptance of uncertainty strengthens inner stability. Recognizing that not all outcomes are controllable reduces frustration and fosters clarity. By cultivating resilience, parents maintain steady presence. Calm consistency provides children with a secure emotional foundation, even when direct communication is minimal. Parents often fear that distance means permanent estrangement. The thought of being forgotten or replaced can trigger intense anxiety. Emotional responses may fluctuate rapidly, creating stress. Yet influence extends beyond visible engagement. Core values, habits, and lessons imparted over the years remain embedded, often resurfacing unexpectedly when the child is ready. This outline stresses the importance of long-term perspective, understanding that present silence does not erase past impact, preserves hope, and reduces panic. By trusting in enduring influence, parents maintain composure. Emotional energy is preserved, ensuring readiness for meaningful reconnection when the child initiates engagement. The absence of immediate feedback often leads parents to overanalyze behavior. Every missed call or delayed reply can feel like a personal affront, even when it is unrelated. This outline encourages differentiating between intention and perception. Distance may reflect timing, mood, or personal circumstances, not rejection. Learning to observe without judgment helps parents regulate emotional responses. Awareness allows measured reactions rather than impulsive communication. With this approach, parents remain supportive while reducing unnecessary tension. Calm observation ensures relationships are nurtured without pressure. Parents often experience quiet grief during periods of distance. Memories of shared moments contrast sharply with present absence, intensifying emotional pain. This grief is natural but should not dominate daily life. Recognizing the difference between temporary distance and permanent loss provides perspective. This outline encourages acceptance of emotional discomfort as part of the process. Validation of feelings allows processing without self-criticism. By acknowledging grief constructively, parents regain balance, emotional clarity, and patience strengthen, preparing for eventual reconnection. Subtle opportunities for connection often emerge during silence. A brief message, a small gesture, or a moment of acknowledgement can indicate readiness for communication. Parents who focus on these small signals remain grounded. Observing without forcing interaction preserves trust and reduces anxiety. This outline emphasizes the importance of attentiveness over intervention. Calm presence communicates stability and continued support. By noticing and honoring subtle cues, parents maintain hope. Trust builds quietly, allowing natural reconnection to unfold over time. Fear of failure can dominate thoughts when children distance themselves. Parents may feel inadequate despite years of care and guidance. Recognizing that parenting influence is cumulative rather than immediate provides relief. The lessons instilled continue to shape choices quietly over time. This outline highlights the importance of perspective, measuring success by long-term impact rather than moment-to-moment reaction fosters confidence. By trusting in lasting influence, parents reduce stress. Emotional composure is maintained, and patience remains steady for eventual reconnection. Distance can trigger emotional overcompensation. Parents may try to control interactions, over-explain, or repeatedly seek connection. While well-intentioned, this behavior can strain relationships. Understanding the limits of control is crucial. Children need space to process emotions independently, and excessive involvement may backfire. This outline emphasizes subtle influence over overt intervention. Consistency, calm presence, and modeled behavior often yield stronger long-term effects than repeated guidance. By embracing subtle influence, parents create space for children to return willingly. Emotional balance strengthens and relationships remain resilient. Parents may experience recurring cycles of hope and disappointment. One day feels optimistic, the next hopeless. These fluctuations can make decision-making difficult and amplify anxiety. Recognizing emotional cycles as natural reduces guilt and self-blame. Awareness allows parents to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This outline promotes strategies for emotional regulation, including reflection, mindfulness, and pacing interactions. Controlling internal responses fosters clarity. By stabilizing emotions, parents preserve energy and presence. Calm endurance supports trust and increases the likelihood of meaningful reconnection. Self-reflection often becomes a tool for understanding. When children withdraw, parents may analyze past conversations, looking for patterns or mistakes, which can feel both enlightening and exhausting. This reflection should be balanced, avoiding obsessive focus on perceived errors. Constructive insight guides future interactions, without creating unnecessary guilt. This outline emphasizes learning from observation rather than judgment. Awareness of patterns allows intentional, thoughtful engagement. Parents who practice balanced reflection maintain composure and readiness. Emotional clarity improves, creating an environment conducive to reconnection. Time apart often reveals the value of patience. Parents may struggle to wait without frequent feedback, but patience provides a stable foundation for relationships. This outline explains that influence and guidance often operate silently. The cumulative effect of years of care remains even when immediate results are not visible. By embracing patience, parents reduce stress and maintain emotional resilience. Waiting becomes an active form of support rather than passivity. Calm endurance signals trust and stability. Children are more likely to respond positively when reconnection occurs naturally. Parents often fear irrelevance during periods of distance. The thought that children may replace guidance or care can create insecurity. Recognizing the enduring impact of shared experiences, lessons, and modeled behavior alleviates these fears. Influence is subtle yet persistent. This outline emphasizes perspective. Emotional presence and consistency matter more than visibility or immediate validation. By focusing on lasting influence rather than temporary absence, parents strengthen self-confidence and emotional composure. Hope and readiness for reconnection persist. Parents may experience quiet frustration when repeated efforts to connect are met with minimal response. This frustration can escalate silently, creating tension. Understanding that children's autonomy is necessary and healthy reframes these moments. Resistance is often a natural stage of personal growth. This outline highlights observation over action. Remaining emotionally steady and respectful preserves trust and supports eventual reconnection. By managing frustration constructively, parents maintain clarity and composure. Emotional resilience increases, fostering long-term relational stability. Parents may overestimate the immediate impact of their guidance. When children appear distant, it can feel as though influence has vanished. Recognizing that long-term character development is gradual alleviates this concern. The seeds planted over years continue to shape decisions, values, and behavior subtly. This outline emphasizes patience and trust in enduring influence. Immediate results are not always visible, but their effects persist. By embracing this perspective, parents reduce stress and maintain steady presence. Confidence and emotional balance improve, preparing for eventual reconnection. Finally, hope and influence often manifest quietly. Children may return to engagement subtly, demonstrating the enduring impact of parental care. Parents who maintain composure and patience create an environment conducive to natural reconnection. The foundation of trust and consistent presence encourages children to re-engage willingly. This outline underscores the importance of long-term perspective, subtle influence, and emotional steadiness. Reconnection is often gradual and unexpected. By fostering patience, awareness, and steady support, parents maintain hope and resilience. Emotional balance ensures readiness for meaningful, renewed connection. Sometimes distance reveals hidden strengths in both parent and child. Parents may discover resilience they didn't know they had, learning to navigate uncertainty with calm determination. Meanwhile, children may develop independence, problem-solving skills, and self-awareness in solitude. The parent's role shifts from constant guidance to quiet support. Influence becomes indirect, conveyed through past lessons, values, and modeled behavior. This subtle guidance continues even in absence. This outline emphasizes growth during separation. Both parties evolve quietly, and distance does not signify failure, but opportunity. Observing without interference becomes a vital skill. Parents who recognize growth in themselves and their children experience reduced anxiety. Emotional composure strengthens, and renewed connection becomes more likely when the child is ready to engage. Parents may feel a deep sense of emptiness when children turn away. Daily routines may feel hollow without shared interaction. And familiar spaces can trigger subtle reminders of absence. Emotional gaps emerge quietly. However, these gaps provide an opportunity to reflect on personal priorities, passions, and relationships outside parenthood. By rediscovering themselves, parents cultivate fulfillment independent of the child's immediate attention. This outline emphasizes self-renewal. Engaging in meaningful personal projects and nurturing friendships allows parents to maintain perspective and energy. By focusing on self-growth, parents preserve emotional balance. Their renewed confidence and calm presence become an anchor for children when reconnection begins naturally. Unexpected moments often remind parents of ongoing influence. A child may reference advice, repeat lessons, or act in a way that reflects long-term guidance. Even without communication, the parent's impact remains tangible. Parents may initially overlook these signs, focusing instead on absence. Awareness shifts perception, revealing the quiet but persistent presence in their child's life. This outline highlights observation as a form of reassurance. Subtle signs of alignment or values practice demonstrate that connection exists beyond verbal confirmation. By acknowledging these cues, parents maintain hope and emotional composure. Confidence grows, and the relationship feels alive even during distance. Sometimes, distance exposes unresolved emotional patterns. Parents may notice old fears or insecurities resurfacing, often magnified by the absence of feedback. Anxiety can become cyclical if unaddressed. Recognizing these patterns allows parents to confront internal triggers constructively. Emotional growth requires facing fears rather than reacting impulsively. This outline emphasizes self-awareness and reflection as tools for maintaining composure. Awareness prevents reactive behavior that could hinder eventual reconnection. By addressing internal patterns, parents achieve clarity and stability. Emotional resilience strengthens, providing a foundation for balanced interactions in the future. Parents may experience a paradoxical mix of pride and worry. While proud of their child's independence, they simultaneously fear that distance could lead to mistakes or struggles without guidance. This duality is natural. Accepting that children's growth involves trial and error allows parents to release the need for control, trusting the lessons previously instilled. This outline highlights the balance between oversight and trust. Understanding that mistakes are part of growth reduces tension and fosters a supportive mindset. By embracing this perspective, parents maintain calm while providing a consistent foundation. Emotional energy is conserved, preparing both parent and child for meaningful reconnection. Unexpected reconnection attempts can arrive in subtle ways. A brief call, a shared memory, or a small message may indicate that the child is ready to re-engage without explicitly announcing it. Parents may feel unprepared for these subtle signs, reacting emotionally or overanalyzing intent. Patience and measured response are crucial. This outline emphasizes awareness and restraint. Recognizing attempts without forcing engagement allows children to return at their own pace. By responding thoughtfully, parents nurture trust and foster organic reconnection. Emotional balance strengthens, preserving hope and stability. Parents sometimes feel pressure to justify their love through constant interaction. The urge to prove care through messages, gifts, or reminders can emerge when children distance themselves. However, genuine influence is demonstrated through consistency, integrity, and modeled behavior rather than constant affirmation. Quiet presence often conveys love more effectively than action. This outline highlights the importance of authenticity over effort. Love does not require performance. It manifests in subtle guidance and enduring values. By embracing this understanding, parents reduce stress, maintain composure, and allow children to reconnect naturally when ready. Distance can provoke reflection on past parenting decisions. Parents may wonder if they could have done things differently, or whether certain guidance failed to resonate. Rather than dwelling on guilt, reflecting constructively allows parents to identify lessons and areas for growth. Emotional maturity involves learning from experience without self-recrimination. This outline emphasizes productive reflection. By focusing on improvement rather than blame, parents cultivate awareness and composure. Constructive reflection strengthens emotional clarity, making interactions more meaningful and creating space for eventual reconnection. Parents may feel invisible when children withdraw, as if all efforts to guide or nurture have gone unnoticed. This sense of invisibility can quietly erode confidence and self-esteem. Recognizing that influence is rarely visible in real time shifts perspective. Children often carry lessons internally, applying them later in unexpected ways. This outline highlights the enduring, subtle nature of parental impact. Influence continues even when acknowledgement is absent. By understanding this, parents regain confidence and emotional stability. Patience and quiet guidance become their most effective tools for fostering eventual reconnection. The absence of dialogue can intensify imagination and overthinking. Parents may craft elaborate scenarios of what their children are feeling or doing, often leaning toward worst-case assumptions. This outline encourages measured thinking and observation over speculation. Neutral interpretation prevents unnecessary stress and misjudgment. By grounding perspective in reality rather than imagined outcomes, parents maintain emotional composure. Calm observation nurtures steadiness and reduces anxiety. Maintaining perspective allows parents to act thoughtfully, preserving trust and fostering long-term connection when the child is ready. Parents sometimes overestimate the immediacy of their influence. The expectation that guidance should produce instant results can lead to frustration when children appear distant. Recognizing that long-term values, habits, and lessons unfold gradually fosters patience. Impact is often invisible until circumstances reveal its presence. This outline emphasizes trust in slow, enduring influence rather than short-term validation. Stability and consistency matter more than immediate results. By embracing this long-term perspective, parents maintain hope, composure, and readiness for meaningful reconnection. Periods of distance can reveal patterns of resilience in children. Independence may bring new challenges, mistakes, or personal growth moments that are not immediately visible to parents. Recognizing that resilience develops naturally through trial and error allows parents to release excessive worry and control. This outline highlights faith in the process of growth, trusting children to navigate life independently while providing subtle support strengthens relational foundations. By cultivating trust, parents preserve energy, maintain balance, and create conditions conducive to organic reconnection. Parents may experience conflicting emotions of pride and fear. Pride arises from observing independence and maturity, while fear emerges from perceived distance or vulnerability. Acknowledging this duality reduces self-criticism. Emotional awareness allows parents to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This outline emphasizes integrating contrasting emotions constructively. Recognizing both allows patience and calm to coexist with concern. Balanced emotions help parents maintain stability and nurture eventual reconnection naturally. Quiet reflection often uncovers subtle lessons for parents. Observing distance, response patterns, or recurring behaviors provides insight into both the child's development and the parent's own growth areas. This insight helps parents refine communication, improve patience, and recognize patterns without judgment. This outline emphasizes learning and growth during periods of distance. Reflection becomes a tool for emotional maturity. By applying insights thoughtfully, parents enhance readiness for reconnection, maintain composure, and support sustainable relationships. Finally, reconnection is often gradual and unpredictable. Children may return slowly in small gestures or tentative communication, revealing that influence and attachment persist. Parents who maintain patience, awareness, and calm presence create the foundation for these reconnection moments to flourish. This outline underscores that steady guidance, emotional composure, and subtle influence ensure long-term relational resilience. By sustaining hope, clarity, and consistency, parents remain prepared for meaningful reconnection, demonstrating the enduring impact of love and guidance even through distance. Parents often face the challenge of interpreting silence. Each unanswered call or missed response can feel like rejection, triggering emotional tension that builds silently over time. The mind naturally fills gaps with worry, imagining worst-case scenarios that may never occur. Understanding that silence does not equal abandonment allows parents to maintain perspective. Children may be processing personal issues or simply exploring their independence. This distinction helps reduce panic and emotional exhaustion. This outline emphasizes mindfulness in emotional response. Observing behavior without immediate interpretation fosters patience and composure. Parents can remain present while giving children the space they need. By practicing emotional steadiness, parents build resilience. Their calm presence becomes a subtle reminder of support and trust, creating conditions for eventual reconnection without pressure. Periods of distance often test the strength of a parent's patience. The longing for connection competes with the reality of limited communication, creating a tension that is difficult to manage. Emotional energy can quickly feel depleted if not handled carefully. Parents who focus on internal growth during these times maintain clarity. Engaging in personal development, hobbies, or community activities channels energy positively rather than fixating solely on absence. This outline highlights the power of personal balance. Strengthening oneself emotionally and mentally allows parents to provide calm and measured support when interactions resume. By nurturing self-growth, parents create an environment that encourages reconnection. Children sense stability and security, which can gradually reduce distance naturally. Unexpected gestures can signal that influence remains intact, even when communication is minimal. A child may echo a lesson learned years ago or act in ways that reflect long-standing guidance. These subtle cues provide reassurance to parents. Focusing on these small indicators shifts attention from perceived rejection to evidence of enduring connection. Recognizing them prevents overreaction to silence and builds confidence in parental influence. This outline emphasizes the importance of observation over constant engagement. Quiet influence often outlasts visible affirmation, reinforcing bonds without active intervention. Parents who notice and appreciate subtle signs preserve hope. Emotional composure strengthens, and a foundation for meaningful reconnection is quietly reinforced over time. Parents may struggle with self-doubt during periods of withdrawal. Questions about parenting choices, past decisions, and missed opportunities can dominate thoughts, creating a cycle of guilt and anxiety. Recognizing that children's actions are influenced by numerous external factors, not solely parental behavior, helps relieve pressure. Independence, peer influence, and personal experiences play significant roles. This outline encourages separating responsibility from outcomes. Constructive reflection, rather than obsessive self-blame, empowers parents to act thoughtfully while maintaining emotional stability. By practicing this perspective, parents preserve mental clarity and resilience. They remain ready for eventual reconnection with patience, calm, and insight. Distance often reveals patterns of communication that can inform future interactions. Parents may notice minor responsiveness, brief acknowledgments, or gestures that suggest readiness for engagement. Focusing on these patterns rather than absence promotes emotional stability. Parents learn to interpret cues without overreacting, fostering a more measured approach to connection. This outline highlights the value of attentiveness and subtle responsiveness. Recognizing small opportunities for engagement strengthens relational bonds over time. By responding thoughtfully to minor cues, parents nurture trust. Consistency and emotional steadiness encourage children to reconnect gradually on their own terms. Parents may encounter the paradox of wanting closeness while respecting independence. The urge to maintain control or influence can conflict with the child's need for personal space, creating tension. Understanding that independence is essential for development allows parents to release unnecessary pressure. Quiet support often has more impact than frequent instruction or interference. This outline emphasizes patience and trust. Parents can remain present emotionally without attempting to orchestrate every interaction. By balancing presence with respect for autonomy, parents maintain calm, steady support. This approach preserves hope and encourages natural reconnection when the child is ready. The absence of immediate feedback can amplify worry. Parents may interpret silence as criticism or rejection, triggering emotional fluctuations that complicate decision-making. Recognizing the difference between perceived rejection and temporary withdrawal reduces unnecessary stress. Silence is often functional, not punitive. This outline encourages measured reflection. Parents observe without judgment, allowing emotional responses to stabilize before acting. By cultivating patience, parents maintain clarity and composure. Trust in subtle influence grows, providing a strong foundation for future reconnection. Parents may feel unseen when children withdraw, leading to quiet frustration or insecurity. The absence of acknowledgement can erode confidence and amplify self-doubt over time. Understanding that influence is often invisible but persistent reframes these feelings. Lessons, values, and guidance imparted over the years continue to shape choices even without visible confirmation. This outline highlights the enduring nature of parental impact. Subtle influence often manifests unexpectedly, reminding parents that their presence matters. By embracing this perspective, parents regain emotional strength, patience, hope, and composure, support eventual reconnection. Overthinking can dominate when children step back. Parents may mentally replay conversations, imagining mistakes or missed opportunities, which can increase anxiety and emotional exhaustion. This outline emphasizes focusing on actionable insights rather than imagined failures. Observation of present behavior and subtle cues provides more reliable guidance than speculation. By adopting a constructive approach to reflection, parents preserve mental energy and emotional composure. Thoughtful engagement replaces reactive overthinking. Maintaining this balance allows parents to remain present and supportive, fostering a nurturing environment for eventual reconnection. Periods of distance can highlight emotional growth for both parent and child. Children learn independence and self-reliance, while parents often develop resilience, patience, and perspective through the process. This dual growth underscores that temporary separation is not failure, but an opportunity for development. Recognizing personal progress reduces anxiety and fosters confidence. This outline emphasizes growth as a positive outcome of distance. Both parties evolve, strengthening the foundation for future interactions. Parents who embrace growth maintain hope, composure, and readiness. Emotional resilience nurtures the environment necessary for natural reconnection. Parents may feel a mixture of pride and concern as children navigate independence. Pride arises from achievements, while concern emerges from distance or potential struggles. Understanding that mistakes and challenges are part of development helps parents release excessive worry. Lessons previously instilled continue to guide decisions subtly. This outline highlights the balance between pride and concern. Emotional composure allows parents to celebrate achievements while remaining supportive during trials. By embracing this balance, parents maintain stability and foster a nurturing environment, increasing the likelihood of gradual reconnection. Small, unexpected gestures can indicate that a child remains connected even when interaction is minimal. A shared joke, a subtle reference, or a thoughtful message can signal readiness for engagement. Focusing on these gestures stabilizes emotions and reinforces the awareness that influence persists quietly. Parents learn to recognize signs without overreacting. This outline emphasizes observation and restraint. Responding thoughtfully encourages trust while respecting the child's independence. By acknowledging subtle communication, parents maintain hope and emotional composure. Relationships remain open and ready for natural reconnection. Parents may experience a deep longing for validation during periods of withdrawal. The absence of acknowledgement can intensify feelings of inadequacy or emotional vulnerability. Understanding that influence and love are not always immediately visible alleviates this pressure. Children often internalize lessons and guidance quietly. This outline highlights the unseen but enduring impact of parental care. Stability, consistency, and presence matter more than visible affirmation. By embracing the invisible nature of influence, parents preserve confidence and emotional resilience, fostering a steady foundation for eventual reconnection. Overcompensation can arise when parents fear permanent distance. Attempts to control or influence interactions may feel necessary, but can create tension. Recognizing that influence is subtle and enduring allows parents to release the need for constant intervention. Consistency and quiet guidance often yield better long-term results. This outline emphasizes subtlety and trust. Releasing control preserves relationships and prevents emotional strain. By trusting in lasting influence, parents maintain hope, composure, and patience, preparing for natural reconnection without pressure. Parents may struggle with recurring cycles of anxiety and hope. Emotional swings are common, triggered by the unpredictability of communication and behavior. Recognizing these cycles as natural reduces self-blame and promotes awareness. Emotional steadiness develops through conscious observation and practice. This outline emphasizes emotional regulation. Awareness prevents overreaction and helps preserve clarity and patience. By managing emotional cycles effectively, parents maintain resilience. Trust in gradual reconnection increases, and hope remains intact. Distance can clarify priorities and values. Parents may realize that consistent presence, emotional stability, and subtle influence matter more than immediate validation. This understanding shifts focus from control to steady guidance. Long-term impact outweighs short-term visibility. This outline emphasizes perspective. Parents learn to value quiet influence and steady support as tools for meaningful connection. By embracing this mindset, parents preserve emotional energy and composure, creating a nurturing environment for eventual reconnection. Parents may feel invisible when children withdraw, interpreting silence as indifference. This perception can erode confidence if unchecked. Understanding that influence persists despite lack of acknowledgement reframes this experience. Lessons, values, and guidance remain impactful, often emerging unexpectedly. This outline highlights the importance of trust in enduring influence. Absence does not erase connection or attachment. By embracing this perspective, parents regain confidence, maintain patience, and foster steady readiness for eventual reconnection. Emotional reflection often provides valuable insight. Parents may notice patterns in their own responses and the child's behavior, identifying areas for growth and adjustment. This reflection is productive when focused on understanding rather than self-criticism. Awareness allows parents to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This outline emphasizes self-awareness as a tool for maintaining composure. Thoughtful reflection strengthens relational stability. By applying insights constructively, parents preserve emotional balance and readiness for reconnection, enhancing trust and relational depth. Parents may experience mixed feelings of hope, fear, and pride. Observing a child navigate challenges independently can inspire both admiration and concern. Recognizing that growth involves risk allows parents to release excessive worry. Subtle guidance from prior experience continues to shape behavior. This outline emphasizes perspective and balance. Emotions coexist, and parents learn to navigate them without overreacting. By maintaining emotional composure, parents strengthen resilience. Calm presence fosters trust and lays the groundwork for natural reconnection. Small gestures and signs of attention can reassure parents that influence remains intact. Even minor acknowledgments indicate that lessons, values, and guidance have lasting effect. Focusing on subtle evidence of connection stabilizes emotions and reduces unnecessary stress caused by absence. This outline highlights the importance of observation over constant intervention. Patience and attentiveness encourage organic reconnection. By acknowledging subtle signs, parents maintain hope and composure. Emotional stability increases, supporting gradual renewal of connection. Periods of separation often illuminate the importance of emotional boundaries. Parents may learn to balance concern with respect for autonomy, avoiding over-involvement. This outline emphasizes healthy detachment while maintaining availability. Children respond positively when space is provided alongside steady support. By respecting boundaries, parents foster trust, patience, and composure. Relationships remain strong even when interaction is minimal. Calm presence combined with thoughtful distance nurtures long-term reconnection potential and emotional resilience. Parents may experience internal tension between desire to reconnect and need to allow space. Overactive pursuit can trigger resistance, while too much distance may intensify worry. Recognizing this delicate balance is essential. Influence and trust grow quietly through stability rather than overt effort. This outline emphasizes strategic patience. Parents learn to respond thoughtfully, observe patterns, and maintain readiness for reconnection. By navigating this balance, parents preserve composure, reduce anxiety, and create an environment conducive to natural renewed engagement. Reflection on past successes often brings reassurance. Parents may recall moments where guidance, patience, and steady presence yielded positive outcomes, reinforcing confidence in subtle influence. This outline highlights the power of perspective. Recognizing past effectiveness helps reduce self-doubt during current periods of distance. By learning from history, parents develop emotional resilience. Hope, composure, and patience remain intact as they await reconnection. Emotional clarity ensures that parents act thoughtfully and provide consistent support, reinforcing the foundation for natural reconnection. Sometimes reconnection manifests quietly. A child may return in small gestures, tentative communication, or subtle acknowledgement, demonstrating enduring attachment. Parents who maintain calm, steady support create the conditions for these moments to flourish. Presence matters more than constant intervention. This outline emphasizes readiness and observation. Patience allows children to re-engage on their own terms, strengthening trust. By embracing subtle reconnection, parents maintain hope, resilience, and composure, ensuring relationships remain strong despite temporary distance. Finally, enduring influence is often invisible but persistent. Children may return to engagement gradually, demonstrating the long-term impact of consistent love, guidance, and emotional steadiness. Parents who maintain patience, awareness, and composure provide a secure environment for reconnection. Trust and subtle influence become foundational. This outline underscores that love and guidance persist, even when not immediately visible. Gradual organic reconnection is a testament to lasting impact. By sustaining calm, hope, and steady presence, parents ensure they are prepared for meaningful, renewed connection, demonstrating the enduring power of patient, consistent support. No matter how distant your children may seem, your influence remains. The lessons, values, and love you have shared continue to shape them quietly, even when you cannot see it. Distance does not erase impact. It simply allows growth to happen in ways that are often invisible but powerful. Your steady presence, patience, and calm guidance leave an enduring mark that your children carry with them every day. This period of separation is not a failure. It is a chance to practice trust, resilience, and emotional strength. By remaining available without pressure, observing without judgment, and maintaining hope, you create the environment where reconnection can flourish naturally. Your calm endurance communicates more than words ever could, and your children will feel it when the timing is right. Remember, influence is cumulative. Every small gesture, every quiet lesson, and every act of love has long-term effects. Even when interactions are minimal, the foundation you have built over years is unshakable. Trust that your children are still listening, learning, and internalizing your guidance, even if it manifests later in life. Hold on to hope. Let patience and consistent support guide your actions. Embrace reflection and self-growth while giving your children the space they need. In time, the bond you have nurtured will reveal itself in subtle ways, reminding you that love and guidance are never wasted, even when unseen. Your message of care, steadiness, and presence will always find a way to reach them.